Hello everybody, I hope you're doing well today. We are going to be looking at writing equations and expressions. Our learning targets are I can write real world problems involving expressions and I can write and solve real world problems involving equations. So first up, we have this $15 more than Devin has problem. So first we want to define the variable. Well, we're working with dollars here. We have 15 of them. So D is going to be for dollars. And it says more than. So we have Devin, we have $15 more than, and so we're going to write this as D plus 15. So these keywords more than, when you see this word than really, this is going to tell you to switch things. So on this problem, 15 came first, and then Devin came second. However, we put the 15 last when we wrote the expression. More than is going to be a key way that tells you, hey, we actually need to flip the order of these. So usually when you write these, you'll write it just as it is. The 15 came first, you'll write the 15 first. The D came second, you put that second. But if you see this term more than, that is going to tell you that you need to flip the order of it. So that's why this is going to be D plus 15 and not 15 plus D. So on this second example, it says 24 less cookies than Hallie made. So on this problem, we're working with cookies. So we're going to do C equals cookies for our variables here. And it says less, and we have than. And so less is telling us subtraction, where more is telling us addition. And that word than is telling us to switch it. So although the 24 came first, we're actually going to do C minus 24 on this problem. Because again, that keyword than is making us switch the problem around. Twice as many donuts as Elizabeth ate. So on this problem, we'll work with donuts. So our variable is D for donuts. And the expression, the word twice, that is telling us multiplication. We're doing 2 times. So this will be 2 multiplied by D for donuts. Again, twice is a keyword telling you to multiply. Problem 4, this one's a 2-step problem. A towing company charges a flat fee of $75 plus 25 cents per mile. Well, we are working with miles here, so we're going to use M for mile. And then it says $75 plus 25 cents per mile. So key thing to note here is the word plus means addition. The word per is one of our key words that is going to tell us multiplication. So this is 75 plus 0.25 multiplied by M. Because again, plus is add, per is multiply. And again, we will normally write it just as the problem gives it. So 75 came first, plus 0.25 times M. We would normally write it straight out like that. It is only when you start seeing the words than is when you flip it around. Number 5 times as many sales as Don made, plus 2. So in this problem, we're working with sales. So it's going to be S for sales here. Okay, and then it says 5 times. That's pretty clearly telling us to multiply 5 by the amount of sales. And then it says plus 2. So 5S plus 2 is our expression for this one. And number 6, Bethany earns $300 plus $2. So 300 plus 2 for every car washed. So in this problem, we're looking at cars washed. So this is going to be C for cars. Every is another keyword that tells us multiply. So 300 plus 2 multiplied by the cars. So 300 plus 2C. And this is how we're going to write expressions. This is review from 6th grade. Hopefully this is jogging your memory. What we're really going to focus on right now is writing equations. And so writing expressions is a really good step for us to take first. hopefully getting our memories jogged again of how to look at the words in the problem and be able to write an expression or equation from it. So Gina's thinking of a number. The quotient of her number and 7 is 11. Find her number. So the variable is going to be just n for number on this problem. And we want to take the key information and write an equation out of it. The word quotient tells us division. It says the quotient of her number and 7. So that means we're going to use our variable and 7 to make the fraction here. The word is essentially telling us equal, and equals 11. And so then we can go ahead and solve it from here. We have to do inverse operations. And so we currently have divide by 7, so we would multiply by 7 on both sides, giving us n equals 77 here. This next problem says the class is raising money for cancer research. If there are 20 students and they hope to raise $300, how much money should each student earn, assuming each student collects the same amount of money? So it says how much money. So M for money is going to be our variable here. And now we've got 20 students raising $300. This word each here is another multiplication word. So we are going to multiply the amount of students to figure out how much money each one of them is going to make. So 20M equals 300. 300 is the goal for this problem. That is why it's on the other side of the equal sign here. So like we said, this is a multiplication problem. So we're going to go ahead and divide by 20 to isolate the variable, which means M is going to equal on this problem 15. It is a word problem though, so we do want to have a label, so this is going to be $15. This previous problem, it was just a bunch of numbers. There wasn't really any kind of label to put on our problem, but this one, it is money, so dollars. Okay, a few more problems. 7 less than twice a number is 35. Find the number. Variable is n for number here. I'm not going to write that down, but it's n for number. 7 less than twice a number. So twice is telling us multiply. Less than is telling us to subtract. So we have 2 times the number, so 2n, less than 7. So just a reminder, the word than, that's telling us to switch the order here. The 7 came first, the twice came second, but we're going to flip the order because that than right there is a keyword that tells us to flip the problem. And so now we have our equation set up, 2n minus 7. We can go ahead and add 7 on both sides, which gives us 2n equals 42. And dividing by 2 on both sides is going to get us n equals 21 for our answer here. Again, there's not really any label to put on this problem, so you don't need to label the final answer here. On the rest of these problems, though, we will need to put labels on them. Jamie rented a canoe. She paid a flat fee of $85 plus $5 each day. Her total cost was $130. How many days did she rent her canoe? So our variable here is going to be D for days, because we want to find out how many days. And we can write this problem out as it is, 85 plus 5 each day. Again, that word each is a multiply a word that means multiply. So we'll do 85 plus 5D. And the total cost is 130, so we're going to make it equal to 130. And from here we can subtract 85 on both sides. Again, our goal is to isolate the variable. We always get rid of the constant first, which is the number that does not have a variable attached to it. So the 85s will cancel out, leaving D equals. And 130 minus 85 is going to be 45. And then dividing 5 on both sides will net us D equals 9 days. So that's how long it's going to take Jamie or that's how many days Jamie is renting her canoe. It's going to be 9 days. Now, hopefully by now we have a pretty good grasp on solving equations. So from here on out, I'm not going to focus on the solving portion. We're just going to focus on writing the equation from the problem. So John needs to call a plumber. The plumber charges a flat fee of $50 plus an additional $12 per hour. John forgot to check the time when the plumber arrived, but he knows he spent a total of $110 for the service. How long was the plumber at John's house? So some key information here. We've got this right here, 50 plus an additional 12 per hour. We know the total is 110. The variable, we're looking for how long, so that means we're looking for time, and our time is measured in hours here. So h equals hours is our variable. Our equation up here in this underlined part, 50 plus an additional 12 per hour. Again, plus, pretty straightforward. Per means multiply. So the equation is 50 plus 12h. And we know the total is 110, so that's going to equal 110. And so you guys could solve this one. We're going to go ahead and move forward, though, to this next problem. It's another plumber problem that's going to be a little different. An emergency plumber charges $70 as a call-out fee plus an additional $45 per hour. He arrives at a house at 9:30 a.m. and works to repair a water tank. If the total repair bill is $160, at what time was the repair complete? So again, we're looking for time here. So our variable is going to be h for hours. And we have a $70 call-out fee plus an additional $45 per hour. So the 45 is what is going to get the variable because it says 45 per hour, 45 multiplied by the amount of hours. So our equation is going to be 70 plus 45h. And it's going to equal 160. And we will go ahead and solve this one actually really quick because the end is a little different than most other problems. So again, we have to get rid of the constant first, which is 70 on this problem. So we're going to subtract 70 on both sides, giving us 45h equals 90. Divide by 45 on both sides, and that is going to give us h equals 2. Now this is what's key here is because this does not answer the question. The question does not ask how long the repairman was at the house. The question asks at what time was the repair complete. So it says he arrived at 9:30. That means the answer is going to be 11:30 a.m. Please specify a.m. If you said 11:30, that could mean p.m., which would be a very long service call. So 11:30 a.m. 2 more problems and we're done here. Sally bought apples and bananas at the grocery store. She bought 8 pounds of apples for $2.50 per pound. She also bought 2 pounds of bananas. How much did each pound of banana cost if Sally spent $22 at the store? So a couple moving parts here. We're looking for how much did each pound of bananas cost. So we're looking for cost, which is going to be dollars. So D equals dollars here. She bought 8 pounds of apples for $2.50 each. So we know the price of those apples. The price of the apples is $20. So we're going to go ahead and put a 20 in our problem here, even though it wasn't anywhere in our word problem. We know the actual cost of that. And we have to add it to the cost of the bananas. That's what total tells us. We have to add them together. So plus 2D equals 22. And so this is how we would set up the equation for this one. Our last problem, Mrs. Smith is buying pencils and notebooks. She bought 4 pencils for $2.50 and then bought pencils for each student in her class. Each pencil costs $2.50. If Miss Smith spent a total of $14, how many students are in her class? So 4 notebooks for $2.50 each, that's going to be $10, 4 times $2.50, plus 0.25 multiplied by S for the amount of students that she has. And it's going to equal 14. And that is how we would do the equation for our last one. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I hope you guys have a great day.